they play on people's emotions in order to get them. So now people believe that it's fact, and it's 100% safe, 100% effective. All this stuff that's just like, well, you can't know that.
Yeah, it's literally impossible. And it began in the U.S. Army in the 60s. It was, of course, classified as top secret for national security purposes. But ultimately, it was programming and different types of programming. So that there was different levels that they went into. So there was the alpha programming, which was kind of like the base programming. It was characterized by their memory retention, along with like their physical strength. I mean, they get these people when they're young. If you think back to like childhood and elementary school, and you took all these tests, and if you were like gifted in a certain area, they marked you down and they noticed. Mm-hmm. So they took these children especially because they realized if they did trauma-based mind control between the ages of 0 and 6 years old, it really worked. It really stuck. So I remember being in school and having...
I think you were in
You were
in the nerd program.
Musically gifted program, but they had all different types of programs. But then you think, like, fast forward to high school, and they have, like, the SATs, and
then when you go and do a vocational school, they have, what's the ASVAB? Or, I mean, they have all these standardized, air quotes, standardized testing that they do starting in kindergarten, where they find out areas that you're gifted, and that's the first step in this programming. I mean, they want to know, nationally speaking, every kid that is in this public school system, in the private school system, doesn't matter. They want to know, standardized testing wise, where all of the children are. And if you're in the top, 1 or 2% in a certain area, you better believe you're going to be flagged. And those people are going to then take it to the next step, which then the next step gets into your family dynamics. And they look at, is this kid going to be impressionable? Is this kid's family going to be impressionable? Are we going to be able to, manipulate the family into letting us deal with the child? Because they know that every kid has a parent attached to it. So, I mean, but the beginning, the base program is this alpha program.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think a large part of it too is genetics. Because as we started this all out, bloodlines is a big deal for these people. They have that doctor who's her handler, basically, and she learns to love him, basically, and calls him what, Papa?
Papa.
Yeah, I mean, this is the type of sick stuff that goes on where these children actually latch on to their handlers and become in a really like father-daughter relationship, or a mother-son relationship, where these kids latch onto them, and then they do exactly what they tell them to do.
Yeah.
It's gross.
It is gross. Speaking of handlers, though, let's pause in our levels of Monarch programming. What exactly is a handler?
That's true. What is it?
So a handler is mainly used in the CIA as basically the person that's handling the asset, the person that is giving the information. They go to another country, they gather the information, and then their handler is the one that is taking that information back and using it for whatever intelligence gathering that they...
So if I'm from another country and I have some information about my government that I want to give you and your government, I'm not just going to go to the president of that country and give them the information, because I fear for my life. So these handlers are kind of the go-between. They're the ones that are taking messages back and forth from the higher-ups to the people, the boots on the ground, basically.
Yeah, the controllers are giving out orders. The handlers are the messengers and the overseer of the said assets. So if I, as an example, was to say the name like Britney Spears had a handler, and she was controlled. All of her music was controlled. Everything that she was producing and making. I mean, it started all the way back in Disney. I mean, she was with the Mickey Mouse Club. You think all those kids were just in the Mickey Mouse Club? We know from looking back into the bloodlines and the MK Ultra and all these things, child trafficking, Disney comes up a lot. There's a lot of imagery in Disney. There's a lot of, I mean, we can go down a deep dive rabbit hole on Disney.
I'm sure we will.
But that being said, you've got people like this that are coming up in the industry. They have their handler that's with all these kids, and the handlers are even, they're like 16, 17, 14 even, and they're partying, Miley Cyrus, Justin Timberlake, like all these big celebrities that started as young kids in the industry, and they groomed them to be what they are, and then now they sing about the things that they want them to sing about. They act out the things that they want them to act out. So that
And when we're talking about children, you're not just handling children, you're handling parents. So are they the same handler? Did they get, did Britney Spears have the same handler as her father Jamie had, or do they have separate ones?
Or is Jamie her handler?
Or can their own parent be their handler?
I think so.
And he was completely in control of everything that she did.
And I think that these people have multiple handlers depending on what it is that they need to do.
And I think if they're really starting to go off the rails, Macaulay Culkin,
he went to rehab, and then he came out, and now he's back.
Yeah.
He's allowed to continue to do movies now because he can be controlled.
Yeah.
As long as they can control you,
They have to continuously upgrade their programming, which makes sense.
Yeah.
I mean...
Well, why don't we get back to the next phase?
Yes.
So we've got alpha, beta. Next we have...
next is Delta. So the Delta programming was basically the killer programming. This is where they trained a lot of special agents, elite soldiers.
Wait,
you've heard the name.
Does that have anything to do with Delta Force? Is that the same thing?
Yep. I was going to say, you've heard that name, right? Delta Force. So...
Super soldiers.
Yeah, super soldiers. Optimal adrenal output. They had a lot of aggression, no fear,
And Delta
nuts.
is like the top tier, special forces. And there's not a lot that you get to know about Delta. I mean, they're not even called, their technical name is Delta, but they go by CAG and ACE and all of these other names. And you don't get to know about it because it's, for national security. We have to be careful in what we can say. We don't want soldiers to die. You know what I mean?
Yeah, totally. So the Delta stuff was basically about training, elite agents. And if you think Jason Bourne, if you've ever seen the Bourne movies, I think that was pretty obvious.
Pretty spot in your face.
A lot of the speculation of Hollywood coming into existence was for them to have the ability to, in movie form or in music form or in media, whatever, to give the public a play-by-play of what they're doing because they have to do it that way. They have to tell you.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting that a television is called that, and that you have programs
and channels.
I mean, Hollywood is stooped in witchcraft.
Right.
And where does the term Hollywood come from?
So a lot of the rituals that they were doing had to be performed using the twig or the stick of a holly tree. So Hollywood came from the fact that they were using that in their occult rituals. It was Hollywood that they were using. So
they're all witches and warlocks.
Right. That should show you that Hollywood was designed as an occult practice to manipulate you using magic.
Put a bunch of spells on us.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, even the beginning of the Walt Disney stuff, it's like a little drawing of a magic wand. And Fantasia and all of that stuff was some of their really early programming.
Creepy.
So much
Super
programming in that. Don't watch Fantasia.
So another thing we should probably mention is the suicide programming that goes along with really all programs. They layer in this suicide programming.
Kill switch.
Right, exactly. Because if you do start to question or wake up or why am I doing this? This doesn't make sense. This isn't me. They want you to kill yourself. So they've programmed in layers in your brain this suicide programming that is supposed to not allow you to continue to say the things that you're saying. Or
so would that be like somebody like Isaac Cappy? I don't know if you guys remember. He posted a bunch of weird videos, and then he specifically went on and he was calling out some of these, powers that be.
Tom Hanks.
Yeah. So he went on and specifically said, "Stop it."
His video where he's singing. You have to find this.
You guys go look up Isaac Cappy.
So, but he puts on this whole thing about how he specifically says, I'm not suicidal. I'm not going to kill myself. If I die, it's not me. Somebody else is doing it. And then I don't even know how much longer, but it wasn't that much longer. And he walks out to the middle of a bridge and jumps into the freeway.
Mm-hmm. Couple weeks.
So is that like his programming kicks in and they said he's remembering too much, he's talking too much,
or he faked his death? Dun dun
dun.
Or somebody just pushed him off.
But the eyewitnesses all said he was out there by himself.
That's true.
I don't know. It's so.
I want to talk to these eyewitnesses.
Mm-hmm. Well, and even that guy from Sons of Anarchy, the guy that played Half Sack.
Yeah.
He went wacky.
Yeah, he went off the rails.
And he murdered his landlord and then jumped or fell off the roof and died. I mean, it was super weird.
Yeah.
And everybody that had worked with him was like, he wasn't like this.
Yeah, that wasn't that guy.
And all of his toxicology tests came back negative. He wasn't on drugs. He wasn't.
Yeah, his hairdresser and makeup artist, they were like, no, he didn't do drugs.
Yeah, no, he was very against that. Clean. That was part of why he didn't get along with the guys on Sons of Anarchy, because a lot of them were very much into that party scene. So, because they know that that's where you'll excel at, or you'll be more likely to be of maximum benefit to them.
Mm-hmm. And if you look these up, these are also associated with brain wave levels.
Yep.
So it's important to understand that there are these different brainwave levels, and they coincide with alpha, beta, delta, theta. These are also the same levels of your brain frequencies.
Yeah.
So next it goes into, so we've got alpha, beta, delta, and then theta. Mm-hmm. You want to explain a little bit about theta?
Yeah. So theta is more of the psychic programming. This seemed to be, according to the research that I've done, they used this a lot of times on the bloodline families. They had a little bit better results, I think, with the pure bloodlines. But they would do a lot of brain implants. They used direct energy lasers. They used microwaves, electromagnetics. I mean, anything. You think about the satellites in the sky, like if you have a brain implant, they can control you from that. I mean, even the like Neuralink stuff with Elon Musk. I mean, it's like, ooh, I don't know. It's kind of sketchy.
How much do we want to mess with the brain?
Right.
Yeah, being able to open up somebody's skull and put an implant into their brain.
Yeah.
Where you can just control. I wonder if they can make them dance or anything cool like that.
Probably.
Rick can already dance.
I would imagine so.
Believe that.
Believe that.
So yeah, that theta's more of the psychic abilities. Okay. And then we have omega. Is that right?
Yes. Okay, so then we go on to omega, which is kind of more the self-destruct programming. So that would be the thing that causes the subject or the agent to commit suicide if too much stuff is being revealed, or if too many memories are being retrieved, or if you're subject to interrogation by somebody else. So, I mean, there's even things that I've heard military guys talk about. people being interrogated in other countries, and they'll just like bite off their own tongue so they can't talk. I mean, it's like this awful,
bizarre,
awful stuff. But if it's programmed in there, it's so deep in there, then they have no control over what they're doing. They're literally doing what is written in their program.
Right. There's a lot of self-harm, mutilation, I think, that goes along with...
We see a lot of, I mean, there was that whole, like, cutting epidemic where, young kids were cutting themselves all the time. And they just trying to, like, get the pain away. They didn't know why they were doing it.
Right.
It was like something else was making them do it.
Yeah. So this Omega programming kicks in when the survivor started to have memories, or like you said, they were being interrogated by somebody that was then triggering memories to come back.
Right. So it's certain recesses of your brain that are being accessed. Okay. It's like having a computer program, and when you get into some of the super deep programs, it's like this file opens up and it just wipes the hard drive.
They say there's 8 levels to the internet. Have you guys heard this? There's like 8 levels where you have like the top level, which is the normal level that everybody kind of hangs out on, and then it just goes down from there. I mean, everybody's heard about the dark web, but it goes down, way down, and there's all kinds of stuff going on down there, like human trafficking and drug running and all of this different stuff. It's insane to think that the deep level that you can go into the internet if you know how to do that. And and it's the same thing for the brain. The brain has different levels where we're all working on the top level most of the time, but if you think about level 1 for our brain as being just everyday things, like sometimes you're driving in the car and you're like, holy crap, I don't remember what I was doing.
I hope that light was green
for the last 20 miles. Like, I have no idea. And that happens a lot to people, and that's kind of your subconscious. You're breathing, you're blinking, all of those things that you don't think about, and then it goes deeper from there, just like the internet. So it's really interesting how it mirrors.
Yeah, very interesting.
It's like almost like it's really structured.
Almost like it's on purpose.
Yeah.
So then lastly, we have the gamma programming, which is the deception programming. It elicits misinformation and misdirection. I think they use a lot of like demonology with this programming.
Yeah, gamma is where they're mostly going into your brain and making you believe that something is a certain way. So sometimes you meet a person where you're like, I can't believe that they don't see this. I can't believe that they don't understand what's really going on. But it's because they have been brainwashed to believe a certain way. So that is them then being controlled to give misinformation and disinformation. It's crazy how many people that I've heard estimates that there's at least 2 million quote unquote sleepers in America that are just brainwashed and can be triggered at any time. Now, those numbers could be higher, it could be lower, but that's what I was able to find in my research.
I think that was their target, was they wanted to kind of at any given time have 2 million, which is a bunch.
So we haven't really talked about music much, except for just that, there's, obviously people in the music industry, and music is very powerful. People, there's certain people that are obsessed with music, certain music, and we know that this program, Monarch, is huge when it comes to music and manipulating people with frequency.
Well, they realized how well it worked to do it via the television, and then they started realizing that at that time back in the 80s, people weren't walking around with a little television like they are now and their cell phone, but they were walking around with a little Walkman. So that was something you could clip onto your belt
I miss the Walkman.
and have your headphones, and you could be listening to music and as we mentioned in the last episode with Ken Kesey and the Grateful Dead lyricist, that's something that you can have with you in your pocket all the time.
Yeah.
And now we've got an object in our pocket that literally has music and video and everything. But
if you listen to a lot of the mainstream, like, popular music, there's very much an agenda. You can tell. I mean, I grew up with rap music in the 90s and like grunge and stuff like that, and it was heavy metal, and all of these people were talking about sex and drugs, like making money, F bitches, all of these different things, and it was so misogynistic, and it was, they're on yachts and helicopters, and remember we would sit and watch. I remember, for me anyway, that I would come home and watch MTV because my mom wasn't home.
Dad had MTV blocked.
Yeah.
Literally blocked.
I would come in and watch
we had
MTV,
no code.
Dude. I would be like jamming out to my Mace videos, to my Puff Daddy,
but
Notorious B.I.G.
Do you
videos.
remember? I don't remember what documentary we were watching this on, but they were talking about Tupac and how, vulgar and, just how the rap music was. But when you listen to him speak, when he was not around that
crowd
scene, he was almost like poetic. He was very, very smart. He had a IQ that was higher than most people. And he was like really eloquent, and he really enjoyed like the arts and literature and that kind of stuff.
Very artistic.
So almost like he had different personalities.
Right. Like
Weird.
Crazy.
Interesting.
Who'da thunk? Okay.
So a lot of this Monarch programming began with Josef Mengele. He kind of, which you guys will probably remember, he was one of the Nazi scientists that they called him the Angel of Death. He did a lot of experimentation on specifically twins and children, but he was kind of the pioneer. He kind of wrote the handbook for this Monarch programming because he started to see really good results with what he was doing over there.
Yeah.
So I think, you correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that when he came to America, they changed his name to Dr. Green. Is that right?
I think I've seen that.
Because they couldn't bring him over as Mengele.
I know there was a guy, he was actually a Jewish scientist. His name was Dr. Gruenbaum, and he went by Dr. Green, I know, back then. And they had like different... They had like Dr. Blue, Dr. Black, Dr. Green, like all
color
of these.
programming?
Yeah,
weird. Can you program with colors too?
Yeah, super weird. I imagine so. I mean, you've got music, you've got movies.
I mean, think of all the 5 senses. Taste, touch, sight, smell, hearing.
Yeah, I mean, they use neurolinguistic programming a ton.
Yeah.
A ton. And neurolinguistic, nobody even knew what that was until, the 70s?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They knew all about it. We didn't know, but they did.
Yeah.
So we've got movies, we've got news, we've got the internet, we've got video games. They're coming at us from all different angles. And I think if you really, are honest with yourself, you know that this is happening. You can feel it, you can see it. If you and the more that you wake up to this programming, you see it. I see it all the time. Once you're looking for it, you see it. But if you're not, and if you're put your head in the sand and you're acting like everything is normal, which is where they want you to be, in the Matrix, this is really a matrix that they have created for us. And it's interesting that in the Matrix movie, anytime anybody gets out of the Matrix, who do they have coming after them? Agents. It's the agents that are tracking them down and trying to put them back in the Matrix. And that's exactly what happens in the last Matrix, the one that just came out not that long ago. They actually did put Neo back in the Matrix, and he had to escape again. And so it's this programming and then reprogramming, putting you back in the matrix. So, I made a joke on the first episode, I believe it was, that we had, where The Matrix was a really good documentary to watch. And the reason I said that was because that's exactly what's going on. The Matrix is a construct of your mind that you're stuck in. That's why they plug it into the back of their brain, right? To get back into the Matrix, they have to plug it into your brain. And so
Interesting.
It gives you, once you start seeing this imagery and understanding how they do what they do, you come to the realization that there is a whole bunch of this stuff being told to us. We just have to decode it.
Right.
Because they are telling us, again, it's natural law that they have to get consent for the things that they're doing. So if we stop consenting, and like we said in the last episode, if our knowledge is what saves us and our consent is what they need, then we need to stop consenting. We need to, stop listening to this music. We need to turn off these news channels. We need to turn off the TVs, and we need to stop being programmed.
Yeah.
We just need to stop allowing it to happen to us, because we have to take over our own lives. And the more that we consent to it, the more that we allow it to happen. We like sitting down and watching our Netflix. We like sitting down watching our Hulu. We like, getting the local news or the national news or the world news, but they're lying to you, Just some examples that I wanted to bring up with kind of current events is the whole Russia-Ukraine thing. I mean, Russia and Ukraine are in a war right now, and America's trying to dip their toe in it, and everybody has an opinion on who's at fault. And if you track history, Russia is always the enemy. Current events to show you guys how they weave their narrative and what you need to pay attention to and how to not just fall into it. Do more research,
And just the fear tactic that they use. They want people to be afraid. They want people to always be afraid. And people are less afraid of COVID now because most people have had it or either been vaccinated or had it, and it's just not as scary as it was at the beginning. And so just keep in mind, it's gonna always be one fear campaign after another. That's how it was designed, because when people are in fear, they make emotional decisions.
Because they want us to choose sides.
Right.
They want us to be a racist. They want us to be a Democrat or a Republican. I'm sorry. I'm an American. I'm not picking a side. I'm not playing this game. I'm an American. I want people to know the truth. That's why we started this podcast. We want people to wake up to this programming that's happening to them and see and let the truth set you free. There's one last thing that we didn't mention about Monarch, which is a huge deal actually, which is the tattoos and
the butterfly,
the imagery, the symbolism of the butterfly. And if you pay attention to a lot of these celebrities and a lot of these people, they have tattoos of usually blue monarch butterflies. Either they're wearing earrings or necklaces or shirts. There's so much of this butterfly imagery and everything.
Well, and the Operation Monarch, just the name itself. If you think about a butterfly, it starts out as a caterpillar, goes into a cocoon, and then comes out transformed into a completely different creature. So you start out as your beautiful human self with your God spark, and then they put you into a cocoon, and they morph you into whatever they want you to be, whichever area of testing they think you're going to excel at, and you come out of your cocoon as something entirely different.
Yeah, somebody that's obsessed with themselves and all about, I can be my own God, I can do my own thing, I can be, everything that I have everything that I need.
Right.
I don't need God. And that's Satan's agenda.